Hi, parents. If your child struggles with a lot of chronic health conditions, it could be sleep, it could be digestive, it could be immune, and it could be even spilling over to behavior and emotional anxiety challenges. You might have tried everything, maybe medication, you've done the lifestyle changes, but really nothing's getting to the root cause. I want to make this video for you. I'm a pediatric chiropractor, and what we do in pediatric chiropractic is we look at it through the nervous system. Now, the nervous system is how the brain and the body communicate. And so when you get a lot of these big challenges from multiple different angles, a lot of times you've got to look back and say, okay, what is the brain telling the body and what is the body telling the brain? Now, how this often spills over is into behavior. And this was so true for this kiddo named Ian that found pediatric chiropractic care. Now, Ian, he was an elementary school age kid who he'd struggled with sleep, he'd struggled with digestive issues, but when he got to the fifth grade, it all started to carry over into his behavior and emotions in school and big meltdowns and getting in trouble and all those things to where mom, she started to dread and get the emails from school. But the key for this is, they had tried everything. She had done the star charts, the behavior modifications. She had tried earlier bedtime. She cleaned up his diet. She did so much good that mom was left just saying, okay, how do I help Ian? And when we got it to Ian, we dug into what we know how to do and we looked into, his nervous system and how his brain and body were communicating. Now, here's the thing with nervous system dysregulation is it doesn't always show up as one thing. It's oftentimes when there's multiple body systems and processes that all aren't working together easily that creates this overwhelm. The reason for this is because the nervous system is really controlled by two main angles. There's the sympathetic side, which is the go, 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 stress, protection, response, the raging bull, just get after it response. And then there's the parasympathetics, the rest, relax, digest, the chill out mode. Now, we need both of these to be really powerful when they need to be, but most kiddos that struggle with nervous system dysregulation, their sympathetic side, that go, go, go side, it just can't turn off and it can't turn off in the right moments. And this is what was happening to Ian. So unlike a lot of, more diagnosable processes where, you go into the medical field and you look at it and you say, okay, well, this can be diagnosed as this and this can be diagnosed as that. Nervous system dysregulation, it really overwhelms everything. The input going into the brain and it causes multiple systems to struggle, like sleep and digestion, immune, behavioral, kind of all of the above for kids. So it's really hard to pinpoint. Now, where does all this come from? And where does this start? Well, we often see it start all the way back, even before birth or into the delivery process with the stress of that. If there's any sort of birth trauma, a difficult delivery, or where we're having to use, vacuum forceps or assistance, and maybe, babies struggled that first month of life. They struggled with sleep. They struggled with digestion. They didn't master that eat, sleep, poop that they needed to before 4 months old. And motor system and latch and all of those things, they struggled. That oftentimes is the root cause and the start of the nervous system dysregulation because it alters the communication to the brain at such a young age that then kiddos continue to build off of that in life, and it doesn't really hit the struggle bus until they hit those early elementary school grades. Now, some of you might be struggling with this a lot earlier, and that's oftentimes when multiple systems and multiple struggles come into play. For Ian, it really didn't start affecting him until it was the behavioral side of things, even though he had a lot of signs and symptoms leading up to that. Now, a lot of times the symptoms can either be physical, they can be emotional, they can be neuroimmune, like I talked about. It's really a wide variety of things because it all involves looking at what the body is telling the brain. The brain works by really communicating. We call it bottom up, back forward. So whenever it receives input from the body, it gets filtered. It gets filtered through the vagus nerve, through the cerebellum, and into the mid parts of the brain, and then to the front part of it. So when the filtering process gets overwhelmed with a lot of signals that are saying, hey, I've got to be high energy. Hey, my autonomic system, my digestive system, those aren't working really well. The brain gets very overwhelmed and it leads to dysregulation. Now, in our office, We measure this. We use the insight scans and they tell us, okay, what is the input that's coming in from the neuromuscular side and their motor and their movements? What's coming in from the smooth muscle side or the inflammatory side that deals with the gut, digestion, immune, all of those things to really quantify and measure where kids are at and then telling us, okay, what does this input look like? And could that be the cause of the dysregulation? That's when we apply neurologically focused chiropractic care to help their body to start to get that momentum, to start to balance, to start to calm, and starts to work those things together. The word we use for that is neuroplasticity. Nerves that fire together, they wire together. So when a kiddo like Ian wasn't sleeping, wasn't digesting really well, it was affecting behavior. His body started to sleep, it started to digest, it started to do the things easier, and then the brain picks up on that and says, hey, I like it. I'm going to amplify these neural connections through chiropractic care. And that's when neuroplasticity really takes shape. So what did mom have to say after a few months of chiropractic care? It was really cool because mom wasn't scared of getting those emails home from school anymore. In fact, the teacher actually came and told her and said, hey, I don't know what you've been doing, but whatever you're doing, it's working. He's clearly able to just behave a little better, sit a little stiller, finish his work on time. He just doesn't seem as dysregulated. And that's really where it goes back to that nervous system dysregulation. So if your child is struggling with any of the above, or maybe it's a lot of the above, and you just can't get to the bottom of it, we would love to look at those scans. We would love you to look more into how the whole nervous system can be dysregulated because that can be the answer for so many kids. God bless.